Listen, welcome to Into the Deep podcast. It's your boy Raheem. I am truly excited for what God is doing. This episode, we're dealing with mastering how to say no. Do you know that's a very important word that a lot of people struggle in dealing with? This episode is going to identify some of the reasons why it's hard for us to actually say no. So I want you to take a moment. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. And not just subscribe, but become a partner with us. There's so many benefits. There's so many things that unlocks when you become a subscriber. So we want you to subscribe, and then you will be able to log into our private room. In this private room, it's just a community where we dialogue and we go deeper into the podcast and we ask questions that we're not able to ask on screen. And I come in the room with you and we just dialogue and we talk. Today, I want to deal with this word, which is mastering the word no. When you get to a point where no becomes easy for you, like when I say no at times, because I do struggle with the word no, I do feel a certain way, meaning I feel guilty or I feel like I could have said it another way, but I want to deal with the word no. Can I tell you that the word no and teaching and mastering no, it is about empowering people to reclaim their boundaries. I want to deal with that. We got to set boundaries. We don't know how to set boundaries, prioritize our well-being. Amen. We don't know how to live correctly, or we don't know how to live fully when we feel obligated always saying yes. But can I tell you, it is a lesson, y'all. Listen, it is a lesson rooted in self-respect and understanding that our worth is not determined by our ability. I want to deal with that. It's not about our ability to please others. We're so used to pleasing people to where when God say, all right, stop, it's hard for us to stop because we have created that culture. But watch this. In the world that often equate busyness with success, saying no can feel like a radical act of self-care. We live in a world where it's fast-paced. So everything that we do is fast. But here's my question. When do we stop and say, am I saying no because I really don't want to? Am I saying no because I don't have the means to help? Am I saying no because I feel like you're going to keep asking me, you're going to keep at it? Sometimes people just say no just out of being mean. You know, we're good at, nah, I don't want to do it, or no, you can't. But sometimes for those who really have a problem saying no, let's dive and let's go deep into the place of identifying some of the things. To struggle to say no often stems from deeply ingrained beliefs, and watch this, social cue. We're around people where we feel we have to impress them. I'll tell you something, this is so funny. I was in a room with a group of people, and these people had some good money. I mean, they had some good money. I mean, they had money to where everybody in my family, my kids to come, and the kids after that can live successfully. So we were in a room, and it wasn't like an auction, but it was like an auction, and everybody was in a room, and they was talking some, oh, I'm giving 10,000, I'm giving 20,000, I'm giving this, and they got around to me. I said, I'm giving 100. Everybody kept saying, are you going to top them? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go above what I know I can do. Now, I'm not telling you that I couldn't give more than 100, but at that present moment, because where I was at, it was a meeting and it was my first time. So I was a guest, and they just wanted me to come, and they just wanted me to see what they were about and what they offer. I was not getting ready to throw big money out just to impress the people in the room. And sometimes we're so used to saying yes just to please other people. Can I deal with that for a moment? Many of us are conditioned to be people pleasers. Some of us, honestly, you feel like it is your life's job to please people. I'm one of them. I love people. So I always try to make sure everything that I do, somebody is satisfied, somebody is happy. And that's one of the reasons why it was hard for me at one point to say no, because I felt obligated. I felt like I had to. So now I'm at a place where I'm learning that no really creates peace. And every now and then you got to get to a place where peace comes. Listening, learning to say no is not about becoming uncooperative, rigid, or mean. Listen, but it's making a conscious choice that aligns with our values and our priorities. And that's something that you got to identify, and you got to be okay with that. It is about recognizing that you have the right to decline requests that drain our energy. Can I deal with that? Y'all ain't talking to me. Y'all ain't talking to me on this podcast. Listen, when you tell somebody no, it is actually giving you the authority to let people know that there are certain boundaries that you have in your life. Can I say that again for the people in the balcony? When you say no, someone now identifies, oh, there is a boundary. I cannot do that, or I cannot say that around that person, or no, I'm not allowed to because that person now has boundaries. And we fail setting boundaries in our life because when we start relationships and friendships and whatever type of ship that you're in, and honestly, some of y'all need to ask God for airplanes because these ships is sinking, okay? So we're going to deal with that in another day. I need y'all to come out these ships because some of these ships, it ain't working for you in your life. But get an airplane. Ask God for an airplane or something. Airplane love. Because these relationships, we got to reevaluate what is the meaning of relationship. We want to deal with that. But listen, it declines the request to drain our energy. Can I do that again? When you tell somebody no, you are now protecting your energy. You are now in the place in your life where you're saying, no, that's going to take too much for me. No, when I'm done with this, I feel as if I'm going to be asleep all day because I just spent 12 hours, or I just spent all day helping you move, or I spent all day trying to identify, I spent all day trying to do this and trying to do that. Can I tell you, every now and then, when you tell someone no, it is helping you develop your integrity. It is helping you identify who you are. Because now, when you said no, even though you want to say yes and you're used to saying yes, even though yes is on your tongue, but no is in your heart. Come on, can I tell you, every now and then you got to follow your heart. You got to get to a place where you recognize, I'm not getting ready to compromise my integrity. No, I'm not getting ready to be distracted from my goals. You got to remember, when you're constantly saying yes, you're taking away from your life. You're taking away from your goals. You're taking away from your peace, your mind, your joy. Some of y'all got to learn how to say no. Amen. I'm talking about real life no. And I had to learn that. I was a yes man until maybe 3 months ago. Like, I was a yes man. When someone came to me, I always like, hey, all right, sure, no problem. They would say, hey, can I borrow this amount of money? I'm like, all right, okay, no problem. Hey, can I do this? And then the day come, and I done got 16 things on my list because I kept saying yes, 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 yes. And I kept saying yes until finally I'm now sitting down like, ooh, I got 33 things to do today. And 32 of these things will not be done. And now I got to deal with the fact that somebody is now upset, irritated, and they're mad because I couldn't come through for them. Why? Because I didn't stop, evaluate, think. I just moved and I said yes off of our relationship. So watch this. The first step in mastering the art of saying no, watch this, it is cultivating self-awareness. Deal with that. This involves taking time to reflect on our motivations, our needs, and our boundaries. Listen, that's the first step. What are your values? What are values? Amen. What are your priorities? What are your limits? These are your questions that you want to ask yourself. By understanding ourselves better, we can make more informed decisions about what we can and cannot commit to. So the first step to mastering the art of saying no, I need you to pause, and I need you to create self-awareness. I need you to stop and ask yourself, is this taken away from me? Is this taken away from what I'm doing? Next, it is important to practice assertive communication. That means expressing our needs and boundaries clearly and respectfully. Did y'all hear me say that to the people in the balcony? Learning how to communicate very clear without apologizing. I don't know why I've always found myself apologizing for saying no. Like if somebody would ask me for something and I would say, "Oh, I am so sorry. I'm already busy." And I'd be like, "Oh, I am so sorry. I'm tired. I can't give you a ride. I'm so sorry." Like I've always found myself apologizing to finally I said, "Fool, why are you apologizing? Because you don't have time." Like, how are you apologizing because you're busy? How are you apologizing because you just can't do it? So every now and then we got to find ourselves in a place where you don't over explain. Somebody say, "Can you do?" And you say, "No, I can't because my kids got to go to basketball. My dog got to get walked. My husband got to go to the gym. This, and this." You don't have to over explain yourself as to why you said no. Can I say it again for the people in the balcony? Instead of saying, "I'm sorry, but I can't," we can say, "Listen, thank you for the offer, but I'm not available at this time." like, thank you for thinking of me, but I don't have the means to do it. I'm glad that you called me for help, but I just can't at this present moment. But I'm not available at this time. It is about owning our decisions and trusting that others will respect our boundaries. It's also important to remember that saying no is not a personal rejection. Because I said no, do not mean that I have a personal rejection against you. Because I said no doesn't mean that I don't like you. Don't mean that I hate you. Don't mean that we're not friends. It just means not right now. I can't do it right now. Did that make sense? It is simply a statement about our own capacity and priorities. When we decline a request, we're not saying that the other person is unworthy and that their need is unimportant. We need to deal with that every now and then. I'm not saying no because I feel that what you got going on is not good or it's not important, because some of the stuff that I hear or that we deal with, you really going through. Like you really do need somewhere to live. You really do need money. You really do need help. You really do need food. You really do need these things, and I do sympathize with you. But I'm not going to feel guilty when I can assist. I'm not going to feel guilty when I can't help. And when you find yourself in a place of yes, because you feel like, "Oh, I got to, because if I don't, then my mama not going to like, or my cousin not going to like." And I'm going to take 5 more minutes to say this to the people in the balcony. Every now and then, no will heal you. No will deliver you. And actually, no is a complete sentence. You don't have to say nothing else after you said no. There's a period there. There's not a comma. You know, when you put a comma, that means you pause and continue. When you put a period, that means that you have made it very clear. You have now gave a complete thought. So it is also important to remember that saying no is not a personal rejection. Okay, so I want you to deal with that. We are simply acknowledging that we're not the right person to fulfill the request at that time. That's all that word no is. I cannot be that person. I can't be that tunnel. I can't be that help right now. I'm not saying in the future. I'm not saying tomorrow. I'm saying right now. And then finally, it is essential to practice self-compassion. Learning to say no can be challenging, especially at first. We may experience feeling of guilt, anxiety, discomfort. It is important to be gentle with ourselves during this process and to remember that setting boundaries is an act of self-care, not selfishness. With practice and patience, we can learn to say no with confident grace and a deep sense of self-respect. So listen, as I wrap this up, I want you to understand something, that when we are saying no, we're not saying no because we're mean. We're not saying no because we don't like you. We're saying no because at this present moment, I just can't. All right? I want you to do me a favor. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Do me a favor. This week, Wednesday, on our podcast, my brother will be on the set with us. And he's going to give us some tips, some tools on how to say no. Listen, that man has mastered the word no. I've heard him, I've seen it, and he says no without remorse. Right? His way of saying no is very dangerous. And even when you get to explain, like for an example, you can say, Sister Sally died, and can you give me a ride to the cemetery? You're like, no. And then they be like, well, that's my only aunt. No. He's not going to explain that he got to go to work. He's not going to explain that he's already busy. He's not going to explain to you what his decision, his answer was. The man is just going to say no. He's not going to feel bad because it's your auntie funeral. He's not going to feel bad because you don't have a ride. In his brain, that has nothing to do with him. Unfortunately, I am not there yet. So we're going to talk to an expert on how to say no. He has mastered the word saying no. So I want you to join us, all right, Wednesday, where we sit down here in the studio with Justin, and he's going to give us a few tips. We want to hear from him, ask him a few questions on what does it mean to say no. And it's okay to say no. But listen, I'm out of time, and not out of time because of the podcast, out of time because of the boundaries I set for myself. I want to catch you sharing this, telling someone about this. I'm excited for this podcast. Listen, Into the Deep podcast is a real life podcast that deals with real life issues. We go deep into trauma and we allow God to heal us. All right. So thank you for being a part of this broadcast. And until next time, remember, let's launch out into the deep.